his comments about indie wrestlers and don't want the indie wrestling darlings in their 30s.
Yes.
I'm going to use Chase Gold here for an example. Let's say Chase Gold, I don't know how old you are now, but let's say Chase Gold's 25 years old right now. And he just started wrestling 2 years ago in 2019.
Hello.
And he goes through indie wrestling for the next 10 years, mastering his craft, getting a following, making himself great in the ring, finally gets recognized by WWE, and then ends up hopefully coming into the company, and then, I don't know, maybe ends up getting tossed aside like some of these other guys are. But if that's how you're supposed to become a wrestler, that's how we think you're supposed to become a wrestler, and that's how you would eventually get to WWE. Now, supposedly, they're bringing in, I don't know, swimsuit models and muscle heads and things like that.
Hey, sounds like the 2000s.
Exactly. It almost sounds like another, like the beginnings of
But by the way, when
Enough.
we went to the Arnold, where they had NXT the one year, and they had tryouts at the Arnold Classic.
Yeah.
You're not getting necessarily indie guys there. You're getting muscle guys.
But
because that's part of what they want.
My biggest point is, and my whole sense, I think that can be summed up with this whole topic, and it was actually brought up by a former local professional wrestling personality. I saw he posted it on social media. It's almost like if you want to become a wrestler, don't be a wrestler.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I feel. That's just my sentence I have on this whole conversation. If you want to be a wrestler, don't be a wrestler.
I mean, there's something to be said for some of the people who have come from backgrounds like that, though.
Yeah.
Like Bianca Belair hadn't wrestled a day in her life.
Yeah, it's not impossible, for sure.
Yeah, like Big E hadn't wrestled a day in his life.
Yeah.
Before joining FCW back in the day.
Well, I mean, maybe times are changing. Maybe the way in the door is changing, and we're just not used to it.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has to adapt for what they want. Again, it's a different animal. What you did on the Indies doesn't matter. What you have in the ring that can turn into the WWE way of doing things. And again, it's not like people can't operate within the structure. But as I say many times, it's a corporate thing, and it's about there are people that go in there, and it's not about you're a good wrestler. Anybody that's let go, I'm not going to say anybody is a bad wrestler that gets let go. Okay, they got there, so they know what the fuck they're doing, right? So if they're let go, that only means they were incompatible mentally, emotionally, organizationally, however, with that management style that happens there. So like that. I really believe that. I believe that it's just, you're not compatible with WWE. It's not that you're a bad wrestler. Like, we don't see the potential of you becoming John Cena. So, whatever, I
will say this, though. If they're looking for people who don't move the needle, and those are the ones that they're getting rid of, why is Dolph Ziggler still there?
I don't.
I'm sorry. Like, I love Dolph Ziggler. I was there when he cashed in his Money in the Bank. It's great, but Dolph Ziggler is one of those people who hasn't done anything of meaning.
But Dolph's the guy that will do whatever they ask him, right?
Yeah,
and
you might be looking for
execute to their liking at WWE.
He also has over 1 million followers on his social media platform. So you can't say that he doesn't have some sort of reach or.
Aren't there some wrestlers that are there to help, bring up other wrestlers, and you got someone that's up and they're starting to get on fire, and let's put them in a feud with Ziggler for a while, and then they'll learn a little bit more.
Yeah.
Isn't that what supposedly Cesaro is supposed to be now? Is just the guy that puts everybody over.
Yeah.
And I'd heard even like Nakamura was supposed to be that kind of guy now.
Yeah, there's just this weird middle spot. I've often said many times on mostly the Monday show, I was like, I love all these guys. I love them. Nakamura, Sheamus, Ricochet, whoever else you just mentioned over there. Even Dolph, I think he's a fantastic wrestler, but the program makes me not care about them. I'm like on the same night that what was it? I think it was the Rampage night, the first Rampage night with Britt and the title change for Impact with Christian Cage and stuff. And then I watched the next day the SmackDown, and Nakamura became the new IC champion, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't feel like it matters. It's not special because it's just another thing they did. But it gets the ratings because some people, WWE is wrestling and WWE is that. I often say, I don't say that WWE put on a good wrestling show. I say that WWE did good WWE when I see a good show. when I see a good pay per
I usually
view.
say
Money
it's
in
an
the Bank.
entertaining show,
Yes.
which goes back to sports entertainment.
I mean, I'm not looking for the same things from them that I'm looking for from a Ring of Honor show or an AEW show, right? And WWE delivers on what I expect them to deliver, right? Maybe less so at SummerSlam, but there was some good stuff at SummerSlam too. We are, of course, hanging on the things that were weird, like the thing with Bianca and stuff. But I think,
we didn't even talk about Edge bringing back the Brood entrance, which was amazing.
Right, exactly.
Didn't they call this SmackDown thing a gooey-like substance because they wanted to stay politically correct and not say it was a bloodbath?
Well, no, it was always a viscous-like substance.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
It was always a viscous-like substance. They never said blood.
Also, being on network television, they probably couldn't do the straight blood. So,
they always called it a bloodbath back in the day.
I'll give them credit. Edge cut a promo in the beginning of the show that he said he's now been drawn to a place where his blood runs black.
Mm-hmm.
And that was black goo on top of Seth. So,
So
it was Chekhov's black.
They cover
blood.
their tracks.
I think this is the last point here, and we can speak on this point, and then we need to move on here because we're getting pretty late, and Chase has to go home and make some more sense, I'm sure. So
Chase Gold.
There you go. What we're up to?
7.
7. Okay. All right. But Matt Carlin says WWE had no choice. And also, Matt Carlin's the Just Pro Wrestling News podcast, so he's paying attention to.
They're in their top 10.
Oh, top 10 of the Future 50 top 50 under 25 list that's going on just between Just Pro Wrestling News and the WrestlingRevolution.com. So please go check that out. We are in the top 10 this week. That's running through the end of the month, I believe. But he says WWE had no choice. There was no synergy between the main roster and developmental NXT. AEW laid waste to NXT. It serves no purpose for WWE in its current form anymore. It doesn't matter if it's a show you like. The point is, those Keith Lee's coming up and they're saying he's not good for us. Karrion Kross is coming up and giving a funny mask and jobbing to Jeff Hardy. There's obviously a disconnect there. We've seen it for years when people come up and we're like, why aren't we doing the thing that obviously worked over here? Because it's like WWE is becoming that thing. Remember that thing where if somebody came over from like WCW and they weren't a thing WWE built, they got crapped on because they were like, we didn't build this idea.
Still exists for a while.
What's that?
The TNA stink.
Yeah, TNA stink, things
lasted
like that.
For a long
so
time.
Like we didn't build you, therefore you're not as important here, and we're going to make sure people know you're not as important here because you were successful at things that are lesser than us. NXT is lesser than that.
But the weird thing is that they did build them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the really weird thing.
Right, but there's still this like internal separation that's happening.
How's Jackson Riker doing these days?
We don't talk about him.
No one gives a fuck.
We don't talk about him.
No one gives a fuck about him. But like, and the weird thing is, they're not even taking their own example because like, when they steer into the skid that is NXT, it works more often than not.
Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens, Bayley, Sasha, Charlotte, Becky, Elias, like Bray Wyatt. There are the Shield, for Christ's sake. Like there are a lot of instances where it works.
Shield was a main roster invention, though.
But they were all.
I feel like Seth was the only one that
Seth
really
Rollins
excelled
was the first
in NXT.
NXT champion.
Right.
They never really did much with Ambrose,
but they didn't.
Roman
But they didn't bring
NXT.
But I'm saying that Shield versions of all those guys were not established. But the rest, but I'm with you on the rest of it. I think that's a different case. But they were built in that, but they were branded in WWE, right? Sorry, but I'm with you on the rest of it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm out. It's interesting. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Were there any announcements on NXT tonight that we're aware of? I know they were talking about the new era starting tonight. Whatever that meant, we don't know. Or unless you watched NXT.
There's a new member to Legado del Fantasma.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh God, what's her name? Female member.
Okay. Is it somebody that's been around or?
I don't believe so. I didn't recognize the name. Electra Lopez.
Electra Lopez.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know who she is, but she joined Legado del Fantasma.
Okay. It's still always hilarious to me that.
And it looks like we're building toward Pete Dunne versus Samoa Joe.
Oof.
That'll take.
Yes, and please.
I mean, yeah. Yes, please.
Ain't all bad over there. As long as we still get those kinds of things.
Joe goes from wearing a rain poncho at WrestleMania to the NXT champion. So.
Yeah. He looked like he wanted to punch somebody in the face, so he did Sunday night. Anyways,
by the way, I will
champion.
say those specials were amazing.
Yeah, I'm about halfway through the first one because I was watching one, whatever came up as the new episode, and I didn't realize there was another like a night one. So I was just like, oh, wait a minute, and went back and started watching a little bit. Anyways, I mean, they're always good. The documentary stuff is always top notch with WWE. You know, even something you saw is absolute shit. Go watch the documentary and you feel good about it. But that's the job. That's the job. Except for that Goldberg one. That didn't work.
No, fuck that one. Never
everybody, tell me in the chat room, in the studio, in wherever Mad Mike is, in the Mad Mike cave, what'd you learn from wrestling this week? Who wants to go first? Has anybody got anything?
I'm thinking.
I'll go first.
Okay.
Wrestling still is able to get emotions out of people.
Oh, damn right.
True emotions out of people.
Damn
so
right.
So wrestling's not dead.
I was feeling it when that dude was crying at the CM Punk thing. That was cool. That vibe.
Yeah, and for the record, anyone mocking that guy,
yes.
Go fuck yourself.
Jeez.
Go fuck yourself.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yes.
This is from a grown man who cried when Bayley won the title in NXT TakeOver Brooklyn.
I cry every week after this show. So I mean, whatever.
I mean,
but that's more of a therapy thing.
When you saw Brock the Undertaker at WrestleMania 30, and you saw all those faces, like that is still one of my favorite matches, just for the pure emotion of that crowd and all those faces afterwards.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite moments is when Miz cashed in Money in the Bank and Miz Girl.
Yes,
just
another good one.
Seething hatred. Like, legit. I still say best fan reaction of all time.
Matt Carlin says, I kind of knew this already, but I was reminded that it is nuts inside the production room truck during a wrestling show. Apparently, there's a video about the CM Punk comeback on the AEW YouTube page, and I want to watch this tonight. So apparently, at the end of it, they're in the production truck, and you're watching them do the calls during the CM Punk comeback segment. And as you know, as I talked about last night, I found myself seated right next to some production tables and boards up in the 200s at the United Center, and I just watched them, for a lot. I'm just like, what does that do, man? And I'm watching the guy with address his truck sheet, which we got one. Bradley's got that over there. I've started to use truck sheets with some of the promotions and everything. It's just like, I learn. That's how I learn. So, I got something. Also, side note, I learned that the Spanish announce table is up in the rafters next to where we were, because Lucha Bros came through and down some steps through that upper production thing that we were at, and then down to the table where they were doing that. So, anyways, yeah, Mike, you got yours next, right?
Yeah. So I learned that sometimes WWE doesn't want my money.
Okay.
I learned this. So John Cena, you guys know him. Peacemaker. He's in Suicide Squad.
He wears jorts.
I've not seen him a few times before.
Fair enough. Not a lot of people have actually seen him, but they know of.
Side back. There's a wonderful joke about John Cena during the Steel City Con with Miro and Orange Cassidy, because somebody asked Orange Cassidy about facing the Invisible Man or the Invisible Stand. He says, I don't know if I would like to fight somebody that I can't see. And then Miro says, I fought somebody I couldn't see one time.
He brought a tank to do it.
Quick version. I was hoping he'd say I brought a tank.
That was one of the greatest WrestleMania
I brought a tank
to
fight that guy.
Yes. So, also, it's wonderful. It's wonderful because they keep asking questions. Orange Cassidy just says no, and no sells the question, and just cracks Miro up the entire time because he's like has no time to come up with anything. So, anyways, go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
Anyway, so John Cena came out in new shirt on SummerSlam.
Yay!
As he's wanting to do.
Oh, the Mario 3, yes.
Yeah, the Mario 3 shirt. Very cool shirt. Really liked it a lot. Yes, it aped a lot of designs that a lot of people have done before. I don't care about that. I thought the Cena version was really cool. Had all the titles on the back. So I go to shop.wwe.com.
As you will.
As you do. Sorg, do you know how you get that shirt?
You buy this graphic that I'm showing right now on the video feed.
Is it one of those NFTs?
It's an
you have
Oh, no.
which you need to pay $1,000 for.
Oh,
but don't worry, there's 420 of the 500 remaining. And when you buy your digital NFT, you get this box with all this John Cena merch in it that probably costs $10 out of China. So
that is jeez, unbelievable.
Yep. I'm like, instead of making a mint off that new shirt that I saw a lot of people talking about on Twitter.
Yes.
Guess what? Now you have congratulations.
Well, they did make 80 grand off of 80 shirts.
Yeah, you're right. That was some quick math. That's good. Yeah, they've only sold 80 of the 500 available. So jokes on them. They only made 80 grand.
And I don't think it's going to peak now that John Cena is not going to be on your television screen.
No.
Yeah, I wanted that shirt. I thought it was cool.
Everybody wants to make NFTs.
Doesn't look like you're ever going to get it.
Like, I don't know.
So you could argue that might be one of the most valuable wrestling shirts ever. Then, if there's only going to be 500 ever made, could be a huge collector's item.
Yeah.
I was actually looking. Somebody posted today. There's actually vintage Ring of Honor CM Punk shirts going for like $500 on eBay right now. And I actually looked, and I went in my box in my basement. I'm like, hey, I got both of those shirts. I bought them back in 2004. I'm like, I should sell them right
We
now.
were sitting there during the whole thing and during Rampage still, and we looked, and Rob showed me eBay already had Punk shirts for $300 from the event. So, because of course it was wild.
God.
It was
like, I
wild.
get it, make your money, but Jesus, like
the flippers and the scalpers.
Yep.
This is the reason I don't have a PS5, you fuckers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's that too. So yeah, there's still. I mean, they're buy it nows, and some of the bids were going up to the upper 100s, 200s. So yeah, there's a 384.
Can you filter on sold?
Last one 214. Yeah, a lot of these are like 214 or best offer. I know we were seeing. He was looking through and saw like. You know, a lot of the best offers were taken. Oh, this one has an extra Black Hot emblem. So,
how many of those watchers do you think are Zack Ryder? Probably a few of them, right?
Yeah, right. So,
wait till Gage gets his revenge.
Geez. 2 bids. I don't know.
Like,
It's wild.
There's one for
ridiculous.
a penny. Oh, or 500.
Wild. So.
A penny or 500.
He'd only scrolled down so far, so I saw a penny, and then he scrolled farther.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
500.
I would
got
bid
my
a
hopes
penny
up.
on that shirt.
So
I would absolutely bid a penny on that.
Who else still needs to go?
I'll actually go into CM Punk. We were talking about this off air. CM Punk has been out of professional wrestling or sports entertainment for the past 7 years, and I learned that in the first 5 minutes of his promo, his promos are about 80%. Or let me start all over. His promos are better than about 80% of the locker room. So his promos are blowing most guys away that you see on TV, WWE or AEW or Impact or Ring of Honor, whoever you're watching on TV. His promos are just blowing people away.
Yep.
I mean, he's also been holding in what to say for.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anybody else? Did I miss anybody?
But just his cadence and his delivery, it was spot on.
That said, I saw his horror movie on Netflix. Man, that's not good.
No.
Not good at all.
I didn't expect it to be good.
Was not.
No.
Wasn't good.
Batista did shit movies.
I'm not into horror,
Kurt
so
Angle
I
did
don't
shit
know what
movies.
we're talking about.
Kurt Angle.
To be fair,
Didn't we have Pro
it's
Wrestlers
not
versus
really
Zombies
scary.
that had a lot of local talent in it?
Yeah. I had a random old IWC show with Ashton Amherst on it, and somebody commented on YouTube and brought that up, and I was like, that's a deep pull, man.
That was in a short period of time. So I remember Amherst was only there for a short period.
I responded deep cuts, and they're like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." But
Did we get Bradley?
Bradley, did you do?
What'd you learn?
I learned that I can't take it. I can't hold it back anymore. That's what I've learned.
No.
What?
No.
What's happening?
kind of nervous right
What's
now.
happening? He took his
Don't
glasses
embarrass
off.
yourself,
What's your
please.
shirt?
Oh
What are you doing with your shirt?
Oh God.
Why are you taking your shirt off? What's
Oh,
happening right
God.
now?
Oh,
What is happening?
God, it stinks.
What is?
going-
Oh,
no.
Oh no!
Can we get one of those old black X's that old WWF used to put over the screen?
Yeah, I want
when
to
they
put
do,
black bars
the
over his.
Chase
mouth.
Gold!
Oh gosh.
Chase Gold!
Shut up,
Chase Gold!
Bradley.
Chase Gold!
Shut
Well,
up.
that happened.
Jesus.
That happened.
Bradley.
Wow.
Please
I-
lock this in the WMS vault
I-
and never open the vault
Can I
ever
get a
again.
lawyer? This is ruining my public image.
You
no.
could hire the
Sorg,
law
can we
firm of
revoke
Dewey,
this?
Sorry,
Cheatham and
sorry.
Howell.
David Lawless declined to be on the show.
Sword, can
Is that-
we
is that a
revoke
shoot?
Bradley's phase down?
For this week, yes.
Okay.
So
I would have
ask him.
loved to see him on the show too.
Yes. So we have other things to discuss with him. So
Bradley, why are you the Todd Chrisley of this show?
he didn't even hear that. So,
No. Okay, Rip,
That's
you
okay.
got Mike. Go ahead and you have to repeat yourself.
No, that's fine.
Bradley.
He can
Chase Gold!
Ah,
No, no,
no.
Bradley,
Okay.
shut
Bradley,
all right.
Bradley,
Hmm.
why are you the Todd Chrisley of this show?
Chase Gold!
Stop.
On that note, guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Chase Go.
Chase Go!
Chase Gold!
Only I can say it. Chase Gold! Ah!
Perfect.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show here, Chase. And you will be in action this Saturday, Prospect Pro Wrestling Homecoming. I'll be up in Worthington, Pennsylvania, and immediately available after, at least within the next 24 hours, over on IndieWrestling.us and network. So stay tuned for that. And there may be a little bit of a surprise if you're not in a driving distance to get there in person. But stay tuned for that announcement. So any final words? Anything people check out? Where people check you out on social media there, Chase?
At the Chase Gold on Instagram and Twitter, or you can just find Chase Gold on Facebook.
There you go. Or hear Bradley yelling in the distance.
Or you can follow Bradley at Butts Bradley.
No.
Well,
No.
I don't know.
No.
Are you,
Absolutely.
Don't follow Bradley. Actually, if you are listening to this, please unfollow Bradley
Hey.
on all
There you go.
Great idea.
Unfriend,
No.
block,
Yes,
every
great
way
ideas.
to avoid.
You know
I
how much
actually,
stress that would save me in my life?
last week I turned off notifications for Bradley Ruthers because for some reason Facebook thought I cared about you. I don't
Hey,
care about you.
Chase Gold.
I appreciate you buying a shirt, but I don't care. All right.
all right. There you go.
Chase Gold! Ah!
Thank you so much for joining us. It's been the Wrestling Mayhem Show. Please go check out everything. You can hear more about my Chicago experiences at the United Center, T-shirts, Warrior Wrestling, Premier Wrestling, and more on the Monday Mayhem Show from this past week. And also Top Rope Tabletop is coming up Friday night. Our friends Pro Wrestlers playing Dungeons and Dragons on the IndieWrestling.us Twitch feed. And I think and of course we'll be there as well at Prospect Pro Wrestling Homecoming happening out there in Worthington. And I think that's all the plug for this week. Thank you so much. Next week we are scheduled to have Daniel Eads with us, where I'm just going to step back and let Eads and Mad Mike talk about Dragon Ball Z for an entire segment. That's the plan. That is the plan.
Sounds like fun.
I'm ready.
He is ready. He's got his
I'm ready.
Mad Mike has his balls in hand and ready to go. We'll see you guys next time.
Absolutely.
Mayhem out.
Just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Don't give up what you want, take it back. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Do what you
This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.